Good morning, guys and girls, and happy Sunday. Well, I guess it's still morning. Let's see. Yeah, it's 11:26 over here on the West Coast, and I'm feeling great and feeling blessed. And I've been inspired to this video topic on daddy issues. I want to talk about this a little bit because I actually have some clients who grew up without a father, and even in our society, I think there's this notion that, okay, if you grow up without a father and you're a woman or even a man, that you're going to have some daddy issues, right? And also, there's this misconception that if you are like, as a woman, if you're drawn to men who are more caretakers and providers, and you like for a man to take care of you as a woman, then you must have not had a father growing up. And I'm just like, the way our society thinks is too black and white. Netgear so fly. Thank you, Stacy. I got this from this place in Inglewood on Market Street called Coquette Couture. It's an African shop. I think it was like $35. But yeah, it's just like our society thinks so black and white. We either think, okay, if it's this, it has to be this or that. Like, there's no in between. And I feel like people totally miss me. I brought this up in my group therapy class because he was talking about, does anyone here feel invisible? And I was like, well, I guess kinda, in a way, because I feel like people totally miss me, right? And I think he kind of perceived it as if I was saying that I don't know how he perceived it, but I think he totally missed me and what my point I was trying to make. And I'm like, he was like, well, you have to not settle for less or something like that. I'm like, what? I'm not a person that settles for less. So what the hell is you talking about? How is that relevant? I just swear, like, he totally misses the mark with his interpretations, and he's a psychologist. And a lot of psychologists, I feel like they just totally miss the mark. Like, they totally see things completely not as they are. Because they quick to jump to conclusions and assume, and they don't investigate. And I'm like, okay, psychologists are supposed to be scientists, practitioners, meaning not only do you practice clinical work, but you're supposed to have a mind of an investigator, of a scientist. And a scientist is not so quick to jump to conclusions. Now, yes, they have their theories. Yes, they have their hypotheses, right, on what they think something may be, but they're not so quick to just be like, yeah, that's it, or yeah, you're this way. But anyway, as I was saying, as it relates to daddy issues, it's like people think, and I've even been accused of this because I made a video on, what is it, dating black men versus white men, what's the big difference, right? And I started talking about like the financial aspects of it, and I went into a lot of detail about a lot of different things. And I do remember, I think part of that video I was talking about how, like, I have a preference for a man to just take care of me, right? And automatically people just went to the left end, man. They went left with it. They was like, oh, so you a gold digger, you a foot dragger, you this, you that. And I'm just like, no, I'm a woman. I can sit on my own 2 feet. I can take care of my goddamn self, to be honest. But I'm not one of those women like, oh, I'm independent, I don't need a man. Not that. So that's what I'm saying. We got to get out of that black or white thinking, the either or thinking. Like, if you're this, you got to be this or that. It's like, no, it's not that. There is some in between. It's a spectrum of people. Come on. Just because I say that I prefer a man to take care of me doesn't mean that I'm a gold digger. It doesn't mean that I can't stand on my own 2 feet. And it also doesn't mean that, oh, I'm this independent woman that I don't need a man. No. Let me tell you who I am, because I know myself. And that's the kind of perspective that I have in working with my clients. That's the approach that I take, that I feel that people are experts of their own lives. They know themselves better than anybody else. Because people oftentimes think that just because you are a licensed therapist or a psychologist, like, oh, I can read you or I know you. No, you don't. I've been walking with in my own shoes, in my life, in my brain, in my body for 35 years. You have not. So you can't tell me you know more about me than myself. Let me tell you about me. And then maybe together we can put our heads together to come to an understanding of what it is. And so I'm like, no, for me, I am the kind of woman, yes, I can be, and that's a cute little dog. I'm like, I can be independent. I can take care of myself. I've been doing it. But I do have a preference. And when it comes to a romantic relationship, you know, dating, marriage, yes, I like to be taken care of. And it has nothing to do with growing up without a father. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I actually grew up with the father, who was very loving, very nurturing, very sensitive to a woman's needs. That's the reason why he was married twice, I think. Like, my dad never had an issue with getting a woman because he know how to take care of women. He know his role. He know his position. Not that my mother couldn't take care of herself, you know, because she also worked. She worked in hospitals all her life. But taking care of other people, as a matter of fact, you know. And speaking of my mom and my dad, I'm going to give you guys a little backdrop, which I've done before. My mom now is 65, because I'm 35, so she's 30 years older than me. So she's 65, and my dad is 77. He's 12 years older than my mom. Now, my mom, she's cold-hearted, man. Like, I feel like my mom is a lot, much more roughneck than my dad. At least that's how it comes off, like her presentation. Like, she just, like, stone-faced, like, she will put a motherfucker in a place. Like, she don't play the radio. She was a disciplinarian in the household. Like I say, she ain't take no mess, right? My dad, on the other hand, he's a manly man. Not that he's like, oh, he's so feminine, but I don't know. I guess I would say maybe he embraces more of the feminine aura and then also the masculine aura. So he's more balanced, I would say. And I say feminine aura because he's very sensitive to a woman's needs. He's very caring, very nurturing. He cooks. And, you know, I remember growing up, he was the cook of the house. Now, not that my mom didn't cook. She would, even though she would sometimes overcook food. But my dad, he was like the chef. Like, he threw down in the kitchen. And when I'm speaking in past tense, it's not that they are dead. They're very much alive. They're still alive. But I'm just saying, like, how it was growing up. And yeah, he was a provider. He took care of the household, you know. He took us on vacations. And of course, my mom, you know, supported him in the finances and stuff like that. She worked full time. They both worked full time. And I just remember, like, gravitating more towards my dad. Obviously, because my dad, he never beat me. He never hit me. Whereas my mom, like I said, she was a disciplinarian. And she had several choice weapons, a belt, extension cord, cable cord. Like, she didn't play. And she was the one like, oh, I'm going to beat your ass. Look forward to an ass one. But you mess up in school, you going to get your ass towed up. And it wasn't these little spankings, these little light things that these children get nowadays. No. It was like, take off your clothes, lay across that bed, and take this ass whooping. And given that she's kind of a small frame woman, she's short. Much shorter than my dad. My dad is like over 6 feet tall. And she would come down. She would come down with that whip, right? And I just remember, like, being under my mom's parenting. Like, I felt like a slave sometimes. Now, how you guys doing? I know you guys are tuning in just being observant, but thumbs up if you are enjoying your day so far. It's a beautiful Sunday. I'm enjoying my day. I actually have plans to go to check out a museum, so I don't really want to make this video super long, but I do want to say some things. And so, yeah, like, she didn't play the radio. My dad, I gravitated towards him, and I still do. Yeah, because he was just so loving, and I swear, he spoiled the shit out of me. What's up, White? What's up, Drea? My dad spoiled the freaking shit out of me. I guess it could be a problem, too. It could be a good thing and a bad thing. I got everything that I wanted from my dad. Like, I didn't really have to ask, to be honest. Like, he would just buy me stuff, give me money. And when I was 12 years old, it came to support my dad, my mom, you know, they just had a lot of marital conflict, and so they ended up separating. So it was official, but my mom still carries my dad's last name. They're still, like, legally married. So we all have the same last name. But I lived with my mom after the separation for 4 years. So from 12 to 16, I went to go stay with my mom, which is like 30 minutes outside of Jacksonville in St. Augustine, her hometown. And then I moved back to stay with my dad when I turned 16 years old. And, damn, where the hell was I going with this? Oh, yeah, so even, like, I think even during the separation, like, I think I took my dad's side. Like, I was just, like, siding with him, you know, because his perspective on the breakup was like, oh, you know, I wanted to stay together. I wanted to, you know, be with her. I didn't want her to leave, but she wanted to leave. That was, you know, her doing, and I even tried to convince her that let's just live together as brother and sister. You know, we don't have to be husband and wife. You know, let's just do it for the kids, right? And my mom was like, hell no. She was I'm like, And I think I take traits of my mom and my dad in terms of my personality and my interactions with people. But she was like, hell no. Ain't gonna be none of that. I'm getting my kids and we getting the hell up out of here. But I honestly, when I look back, I'm like, I never saw it. Whatever my mom was going through and dealing with, I didn't see it. I saw that I had the perfect family. And the son is like, okay, let me see, can I change? Yeah, but I saw it that we had the perfect family, at least in my perspective, which I guess is a good thing because I was sheltered from whatever was happening. You know, I was pretty much sheltered from that. And I remember, like, even when my mom and my dad were still together and I was young, you know, through elementary school, like, I always would be up under my dad. I swear. I was just like, I was like his right hand. I swear. He would be out there cutting the grass and I'll be out there with him, you know, helping him with the yard work and stuff. And my sister would be inside on the phone talking to her girls and stuff, doing the girly stuff. And I was more like a tomboy. I was a girl, but parts of me kind of, I guess, felt like a boy. I just identified more with my dad, I think. And you know how kids would play dress up and they dress up like their parents and stuff like that. I would always dress up as my dad. Like, I would put on his clothes at like 4 or 5 years old. You know, I would put on his work clothes, his shirt and his hat, and put on myself in his shoes. And I wanted to be my dad. And so looking back now and how people say, oh, you have daddy issues, it's perceived that, oh, if a woman is attracted to a man who is a caretaker, you know, it's like, oh, she's trying to fulfill some unmet need. And I even brought this to my professor's attention when I took my psychodynamic class, which trains us in psychoanalysis, because he tried to do an interpretation of me. And I'm like, hold on, buddy. I said, what about the possibility? I know that the research says this, that, oh, in adulthood, people try to fill these deficits that they lacked in childhood. But I said, what if it's the other way around? What if it's that a person was just used to a certain way of being as a child? They're used to certain treatment as a child by their parents, and they crave for that same attention and the same type of treatment when they become adults. And my professor, he was just not trying to listen to it. There he goes in that stuck way of thinking. Just because this is how it has been traditionally stated in research, he was not even open to kind of considering a different perspective. And I'm like, I'm trying to put it out there. You know, that there are other ways of thinking, you guys. We don't have to just take one theory and run with it and then just say it has to apply to everything. Like, that's why you have many different theorists, because there are many different ways of looking at things. I'm like, well, whether you accept it or not, or validate my perspective on that type of theoretical approach when it comes to conceptualizing human behavior, I still believe that, because I know that to be true for my own life. Like, I've lived that. And I had a father in my life. Even though my mom and my dad separated, my dad was very much still in my life. Like, I would still go visit my dad. He would pick me up even though they were separated and lived in 2 different cities, 30 minutes apart. My dad would still send me money, like call me on the phone. Like, I still was in contact with my dad, and then eventually I ended up running away from my mom's house and went to go stay with my dad. So I'm like, my dad has always been in my life, you know. And I believe as a woman now, I do crave that kind of relationship, that daddy girl type of relationship, because I just loved it so much. It was so great and so perfect in my eyes, and I remember like it was yesterday, you know. He treated me like I was a princess, like I was daddy's little girl, you know. And yeah, as a woman, I think that's probably the reason why I'm still single. Honestly, I'm 35 years old, never been married, don't have any kids, but I think that that's kind of probably the reason why I've been single, because I guess no man has really been able to measure up to my dad. Maybe I've been looking for my dad essentially, you know. Not that I don't know where my dad is, of course I know where he is and we're in contact, but I'm talking about, like, metaphorically speaking, I've been looking for a man who very much matches the characteristics of my dad. And I've come very close to finding so-called my dad in a man. Even in my last relationship, the guy who I dated from New York City, you know, the veteran, he was dark-skinned, chocolate, you know, sexy and taller than me, and, you know, very much masculine. And a caretaker, you know, like he told me I didn't have to work, you know, even though he respected me going to school. He was like, you don't have to work if you don't want to. You don't have to pay no bills. I got it. He paid for everything. When we were in New York, he could pay for everything. In LA, he paid for everything. Like, and it wasn't a burden for him. That's what he wanted to do, because he's just naturally a caretaker. You say, I feel like you feel you desire your mate to do the way you were brought up. I believe that to be true also. Two-parent household where my dad took care of the five. Exactly. Some people don't get it. And so it's foreign, because I know our society has changed drastically, and women are kind of like becoming more of the breadwinners and taking more of an egalitarian role, an equal role to their male partners. And so to hear a woman like myself, or even like yourself, say, you know what, I want a man who's a provider, people automatically in their minds translate that as, oh, you're a gold digger. They totally miss me, y'all. And like I said, I made a video on this before, and you go back and read the comments, like, I got attacked. People were like, oh, you just this. They was just trashing me. And I'm just like, no. I probably got more money in my bank account than you know, but we're not going to go there, right? And so I'm like, no, I just honestly, you know, that's just what it is. It's like, I just prefer that kind of man, because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to a man opening the doors. I'm used to a man treating a woman as a princess, you know, like she's God's greatest gift, you know, because my dad treated me like that, and he still does. He be like, baby girl, how you doing? And he send me these voice recordings, you know, like, you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work. And, you know, I know back in his day, like, he didn't have a problem getting a woman, you know, no pussy or none of that, because he just was that man, you know, that know how to talk to women and treat women. You know, he always had women around him, and I think that's probably factored into the reason why him and my mom no longer together, because maybe she didn't like that. Because even on his job, I remember everybody was like, hey, you know, just calling his name, you know, what's up, just all around him, you know. He was that man, and probably still is. And look for a family deal. Yeah, a man who wants to have a family-oriented man. My dad's very family-oriented. He was always at family gatherings, was the one taking pictures, and his name is Joseph, so I'll go ahead and tell you guys that. And they would say, hey, Joe, what's up, Joe? You know, like, he was that guy. And I don't think some people get it. They just think that, oh, well, you want a man to take care of you, then you must not have grown up without a father. You got daddy issues. I'm like, I don't really consider that as daddy issues. And let's say, even if a woman, let's say, like, as my clients, I think about my female clients, and they didn't have a father, and let's say they have a desire to have a man that's going to take care of them, I don't see nothing wrong with that either. Like, I think in our society we pathologize every fucking thing. If it's a woman's prerogative that she wants a guy that's going to take care of her, nurture her, whether she had a father or not, then that's her preference. Why does it have to be a problem? Because if there are men who are like that in our society, who like to take care of women and nurture women and be in charge, then that's a perfect fit. That's nature taking its course. Like, why is that a problem? Why does it have to be, oh, you got daddy issues? No, it's not. It's your issue. It's not their issue. Because they can find a partner who's going to fit that need that they have. Some women, just like myself, have that need. Whether they had a father or not, they just have a desire to just be taken care of and nurtured and loved and treated like a princess, you know. And it works because the men also have that desire to be that kind of daddy, so to speak, you know, and look after his daughter. There are men that are like that, and it works. It fits like a glove. So, you know what? I want you guys to share your perspectives on this topic. Either way, whether you believe that it's an issue or not, feel free to share. And I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm getting ready to head to the other side, actually, to check out this museum. And I probably will come back and go live. But I enjoy talking to you guys. And I just wanted to put that out there because people just be totally missing the mark. And they see you for how they want to see you. Like, even in my class, my group therapy class, is like, these white girls are like, oh, you're guarded or you're this way. And I'm like, no, you just want to see me from your perspective, you know, from your dirty ass lens. That's you. Which I don't have nothing to do with that kind of negativity. It's like, no. And it's like, oh, well, you create videos to try to save face, to paint this perfect picture or this, you know, glossy picture of who you want people to see you as. I'm like, no. I think what it is, and I think about it, I think some people, especially white people, have difficulty in seeing black people just do well. You are so used to the narrative that, oh, black people are fucked up, they poor, they disadvantaged, they this and that, where you come across a black person who's not that and who's living a life, so to speak, and is content, you just like, oh, they faking or they putting on a show. Or I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not my job try to convince you of anything. I'm just going to continue to live my life, whether you believe it or not. I ain't got a front. It's been times where I feel like I'm not doing so well. And I may come and do a vlog and be like, you know, I ain't feeling well. I talked about my depression. I talked about this and that. So what is it? I don't get it. Maybe their life is fucked up. So they're like, it can't be true that this girl is just living so good. Anyway, let me read your comment. Women are getting lost in the commercialization of the black family. We have to be tough as black women, but black women, that we don't need a man. But you need a man to have a baby. Exactly. Need a man to have a baby. These movie and the music moved away from the loving and caring relationship. We are not meant to man the world alone. They scream these. Yeah, exactly. And I also want to kind of speak to that. You know how women say, oh, they don't need a man. I'm just like, that ain't me. I would never say I don't need a man. Hell no. I recognize my need for a man, and I do want to have a family. You know, so no, because just as like you'll have women that say that, but then it's certain things that they need a man for. You know, like even a woman living in a household with a man, and she want to assert her power, right? She want to feel like she's not needed in the relationship or she's not powerful, you know. So she will sometimes assert that in many different forms, but then come to find out certain things that she realized she can't do. Let's say like open a pickle jar or reach a certain thing in a house, and then you end up calling the man like, hey, can you help me out? Okay, you need a man. You know, that's just on a smaller scale, but it's true, man. We need each other. You know, God wouldn't have created man and woman if we didn't go together and we didn't need each other. So we do. It's facts. But thank you guys for the conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I will catch you guys in the next vlog because I'm hungry. I ain't eat yet. I got to get something to eat. But I want you guys to have a blessed day. I just want to share positive energy out there and bless you guys. You know, let's bless each other and speak words of positivity towards each other. So much negative things happening in the world, you know. And I want to put that out there. But thank you guys for tuning in. And catch you guys later. Love you guys. Bye.